Momma Braga, força do coração. Momma Braga. You secret Momma. Dance under the sun, feel the earth below. Momma Braga, Momma Braga.
Filtered. Get ready because today's episode is overflowing with heart. We are joined again for part 2 by the dynamic husband and wife team who are redefining what family engagement looks like. Derrick and Dr. Lakisha Culpepper form a powerful partnership rooted in service, education, and family advocacy. Their shared mission is to ensure that every child, regardless of background, has access to positive role models, supportive adults, and a nurturing environment. Through viral storytelling, community outreach, and educational leadership, they continue to inspire families all around the world. They're here, they're fired up, and they're dropping gems on parenting, partnership, and purpose. Let's dive in. Hello, welcome back.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Hi, Melanie.
Hi. Welcome back. I didn't scare you off the first time.
No, you got close, but no, we're still here. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it was perfect, and we're so happy to be back. We're really excited.
Thank you for having
We're
us
stoked.
back.
We're excited.
Yes, I'm excited too. Today's focus, we're going to focus on both of you because you guys make things happen. So it's so inspiring and I admire it. So a question I do have, which kind of stems off from the first episode. How did you discover your shared purpose as a couple, not as parents, but as a couple?
It's good stuff. That's good stuff.
I think it came through trial and error, to be honest with you.
That's good. Yeah.
Because no person is who you think they are when you first meet them or when you first see them.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time to get to know people, to know how they react, what their goals are, what they're looking forward to in life, what their background is. How are they when things are seemingly not going well, how they respond. And so all of those things are important when it comes down to finding that mate that has a shared purpose. You got to talk and communicate and find each other in different situations. So my wife and I, we had some trial and error even when we were friends and when we were dating. And so, because when we first met each other, she had a boyfriend, rightfully so. And then I had a girlfriend at the time.
Rightfully so.
Yeah,
So cute.
and so we were just friends at the time. We knew each other and things like that. And then my relationship began to crumble. It was long distance and it didn't work out. And then of course, my sights were on to where do I go from here? And so why not, a friend of mine, Lakisha, and actually I think Lakisha may have still had a boyfriend at the time, and so I respected those boundaries, and then eventually we tried to date and it didn't work.
Oh, wow.
No, it didn't work. I think we fussed too much and it didn't quite work out. And then we decided that this ain't working, and so then I actually withdrew from school, from college to go play professional semi-pro football in South Dakota, Rapid City, South Dakota. And then Keisha would write and I would write back. And at that time, there was really no email and Facebook and all of that kind of stuff. And so we realized that we really did like each other and that we wanted to give it another shot. And so when I came back, let me see, the season was over with in August. It started in March of 2000. And I went back to school to re-enroll so that I could graduate. And then I think that by that time our relationship began to kick off.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair to say. And I'll say this too, Melanie, as it relates to family mission, like it changes. So the mission I feel like we had as
some commonality or some things we wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it changes with time too. I think when we met each other, when I first met Derrick, again, I was 19. I tell people that all the time because I'm far from 19. I'm almost getting close to 50, right? So this idea of what our family mission was when we were first married and we had one baby looked very different. We were involved in things that newly married couples with one baby did, and that was our mission. We would house game nights at our home for other couples with small children. A lot of that we did through our church. We were both educators at the time. And so a lot of what we did centered around being of service to others, specifically children. The first few years of our marriage, part of our marriage mission was really to help the teenagers in our family who were really struggling in their homes. So
Mm-hmm.
throughout our marriage at the early years, we had several of Derrick's family members and then mine too later live with us. And so we were that house for a while that, let's go live with Derrick and Keisha and see if that will work for you. So that was, a whole season for us. And then, we moved into a season of doing business together. So let's launch businesses. And that was kind of happening simultaneously with Derrick's lawn service. But how can we be business partners together? And so we had a season really when we were trying to launch businesses where we built our rental property up in Oklahoma. And so part of what we did during that season pretty heavily, and I think we still do, is really talk to others about how to do that and how to get involved and how to collaborate. And we've done some interviews even for the company that leases our property, talking about that. Part of our mission as family has also always been the things that we do in church. And so that has never ended. There was a point in which Derrick and I actually did praise and worship together and went all over singing together. So that was a big part of what we did. And there were some times when we drug our kids to do that. And so what I would say is family mission is for us, it has been an ever evolving thing. It's not a one time. The same family mission that you had when you met 25 years ago is different, and it really should be
Mm-hmm.
different because what your interests are change, and what is important to you, and the season of life you're in changes. Now we're parenting adult children, we're running businesses, we're looking to invest in our future, like, so it's evolving. And
Mm-hmm.
so what I can say is allow the mission of your family to be guided by the two of you, and then be okay when that starts to look different. And I think that's sometimes what's hard for people is when things start to change.
Yeah.
People will say, "Oh, well, my spouse has changed. He's not the same, or she's not the same person." Well, I would think not after 25 years. Like, who is this?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm the same person I was at 19, then something's probably wrong with me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think as families, we have to look at it that way, is that our mission at the heart of what and I do, it's really been about faith and family, right? That's the overarching theme, but how that shows up and how we interpret that in our daily living changes with time and has changed.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I feel
Mhm.
so. Communication is key, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting. I was talking to my cousin about this topic this morning early. And he said, it's hard when you're asking your partner to give you something that they don't possess, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in relationship, it is also okay to ask for what you need, but there are some times when and I think that's when we've had conflict, to Derrick's point, is it's the time in which we were asking each other to give the other something that they really didn't have to give. And that's when you do need to sit down and have a conversation and really
Mm-hmm.
articulate, okay, can I give this to you? And just because I can't give it to you right now doesn't mean I can never give it to you. And I see that a lot of times with my friends when they become new moms, right? As a new mom with this new baby that seems to need you for their very survival. Maybe you're not able to spend as much quality time with your husband and give him the attention that you guys are used to having in that alone one-on-one time, because as a mother, you feel so pulled to meet your child or your
Mm-hmm.
children's needs. And sometimes your relationship goes on the back burner. And we just have to be mindful of that. That if you're asking me to give you the same level of time and attention that I gave you when we were single and dating, you're asking for something I really can't do because now we have children. And so how do we redefine what we can do and give to each other?
Yeah. What do you recommend if a couple is going through that
Yeah.
from
So
your experience?
for us, for me, it always begins with prayer and reflection, like on myself, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
let me first work on me. Like I can't even go to Derrick with an issue until I've thought through what part of this do I need to own? And
Mm-hmm.
I've spent some time really articulating what's really the issue, right? Sometimes as couples, we go right to wanting to spew out our frustration
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
without dialing it back a little bit to
Yeah.
see, okay, is it me? Am I asked, like, let me examine myself. So I believe it starts for me with prayer and self-examination. And then it does start with an honest communication. That's Derrick and I. And if we can't meet in the middle, then to me, that's when you need a trusted couple, friends. And I say couple because you need both perspectives, or you need a counselor, a marriage counselor, or some trusted partner that loves you both equally, right? So that's
Yeah.
probably not going to be your mom or that person's mom, right? Because you need someone
Mm-hmm.
that loves you equally and can listen equally and objectively, and who's
Yeah.
really in it for you all and not one or the other, to really problem solve through those, is what I think.
Mhm.
Do you agree?
I agree.
You agree,
Yeah,
right?
I agree. I mean, you have to do self-check, self-reflection. You have to not gauge, but test your behavior against what the word of God says,
Mm-hmm.
because we can be selfish and we need to be selfless, or we
Mm-hmm.
should have grace or be a little more understanding, or we should have patience, those kind of things. And so sometimes when you examine what has taken place, you can look in the mirror and start with the man in the mirror, like Michael Jackson say, let me look at me first. And then you be like, dang, like kind of like I said in the other episode, it's like, dang, I could have said that differently, or, the scripture says a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh one stirs it up. See, I could have took the soft answer side, but I took the harsh answer side. So the self-reflection will convict me, if you will, and say, you probably could have handled that a little bit differently, and the things might have could have went a different way. And it's okay to say, I'm sorry. I, I didn't have to say or do that like that. Or, you come home one day and you're stressed at work, and then all of a sudden you start fussing at your spouse. You know, I know you don't do that, Melanie, but you start fussing at your spouse because, and they've
Sometimes
done
I
nothing
do.
to
I
you.
have to be honest.
Yeah.
And see, they're getting spewed on something else that's going on. They hadn't done anything.
Hmm.
I used to not like that. I'd be like, why are you fussing at me? I ain't done anything. But then
Yeah.
I started to say, let me understand, it's not directed at me. It's just some residue from the day. Just stay back, cool off a little bit, and everything will be all right. But see, that
Yeah.
comes with maturity, though. That way you don't feel attacked. You don't feel offended, but yet you just understand, hey, Keisha needs some time. Let me let her unwind. Don't ask for nothing. Don't ask her to cook nothing. Don't ask. Just let her unwind. And when she unwinds, then we go. All the same with me.
Yeah.
So.
And it's funny. So at some point in our marriage, I don't even remember when it was, but Derrick
Totally.
came into the knowledge of the amount of time I really do need to decompress. Because my job has always been pretty demanding, starting as, being a classroom teacher with, 22 and then 32 students, having 1,000 questions all day, and parents, to going into a principal role, to my role now. I cannot even tell you, like, we got a data sheet today showing how many parents we've talked to in the last 2 weeks. It's like 1,200. So like,
Wow.
when you talk to, and I probably have literally spoken to 75 people today. And so at the
A
end of
lot.
that day, yeah, you can be the most extroverted person on the planet. But if you are addressing the issues and most important thing to 75 people all day, like, you need time to reset. And so
Oh,
Derrick
yeah.
said it to the kids, and I heard him. He said, "Hey, your mama needs an hour. Give her an hour." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You need about an hour just to unwind." And again, I don't have it to give. If I hit the door coming from that at work and you immediately want me to answer 72 questions for you, I don't have 72 questions in me necessarily at that moment. But
Hmm.
if you give me an hour, I'm ready for I'm ready for the 72.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean by, like, giving, and that's part of that grace too.
Yeah, having the capacity. That's what I call it. I have this
Hmm.
this saying that I live by is you give 100% effort in all you do. The scripture says in Colossians, work as unto the Lord and not human hands. So when you're at work, give 100% at work. When you're at home, give 100% at home. However, know what your capacity levels are. Don't get yourself so busy or so doing so many things that your capacity is high. Because if the capacity is at 98, because you're so busy, then you don't have any room for any kind of interruptions, any kind of unexpected phone calls, any kind of request to ask. It'll blow your top. Don't you see I got all this other stuff I'm going on? I can't do this right now because see you too high now. So you need to keep your capacity at 100% effort, but capacity needs to remain about 70%. So if you get that phone call, hey, I forgot something at the store. Can you go by there and get it on your way home? Oh, sure, no problem. But if your capacity is high, uh, you see, you blow your top. So
Yeah.
every day, I think we need to strive to keep whatever your obligations are, your capacity around 70%. So when your coworkers or your spouse or your children call you, Dad, I got a flat. I'm 10 miles away from the house. Okay, if your capacity is where it needs to be, especially in marriage, then you can answer and respond in more of a chill, calm way because you've made room in your day for the unknown and the unforeseen phone calls, actions, a car wreck, and you stuck in traffic. You have the capacity and you can respond a whole lot better.
Yeah. That's amazing. So this will kind of lead into this next question. What keeps your marriage so strong, especially building up your mission?
Respecting each other's boundaries.
Go.
Yeah, and dwelling together according to knowledge, knowing each other, knowing our habits and our friends and the things we like to do, don't like to do, knowing and just basically really respecting her time and she respects mine. But like Keisha likes to cook and be in the kitchen. She likes the inside stuff. I'm an outside guy. Give me the garage and some tools. I'm good. You know. So we know each other's boundaries and we allow space for that. We allow space for meditation. We allow space for chatter with friends. She likes to play these games on her iPad and stuff. Allow space for it. She knows I like to stay in the garage. She'll let me stay out there. Now we do monitor how much of that we do. I can't live in the garage as much as I like to be out there. I go out there for a set amount of time because
Yeah.
it used to didn't be that way. I used to because I like to work on stuff. I'll be out there to 2, 3 in the morning, knowing I got to be to work at
Oh,
7.
wow.
Because
Oh,
once I
wow.
get going, I'm up, I'm going.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, I go out there for 2 or 3 hours, then I'll be inside. I time it out so that I'm not so overly consumed with being caught up in a hobby that I like to do, but yet I come in, help clean, help do the dishes, So I think just respecting boundaries and putting limits on extracurricular activities, and making sure we're spending time together in the process. I think that's just it.
I think that's a big part of it. And I think and for me, like I just remember when we were newly married, like in our younger years, I used to think that like everything had to be addressed right then. Right. And one of the biggest lessons for me was, thinking about it now, I don't need to address every concern, every issue in year one because now we're in year 25 or whatever we said, 25, about to be 25. Like you got plenty of time. And some of it is knowing that some issues resolve themselves. And so a term that we use in education is planned ignore. And it's actually something you learn when you go to teacher school, right? There are sometimes if a student is doing a behavior that you can actually plan to ignore that behavior, knowing that it may resolve itself or it may be so minute that in the big scheme of things, what does it really matter? Right. And so I had to take that approach even in our relationship. Like there are some things that just really don't even matter, that at the time may feel big, but I think you have to, again, take a step back and really determine like, is this something that is it the hill I want to die on? Is this something that I want to talk about for an hour, or is this a little thing that I can let go of?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't make a mountain out of a molehill, you know.
Say that.
You don't have to take a bazooka to kill a mosquito, you know? It's like
Yeah.
it's not as major as you think it is,
Yeah.
you know, and so you have to kind of check yourself and say, you know what, is this something I really need to say something about? And most times once you go through your mind, it'll be like, nah, you know, it's not that big a deal, you know, because sometimes my wife knows I don't like shopping. So I don't know. I'm not. I can go in Home
Like,
Depot and
what's the
Lowe's.
trip is
I can
that?
go
I'll
to the
go
auto
home and
store
she'll
and I can
fix
stay
it
all
up.
day.
Like,
But like she sends me to Walmart to get a whole list of groceries,
grocery shopping is what
and
you're saying.
it ain't where I
You
think
see
it ought to be.
his whole body
It
language changed.
it frustrates me because it's like, you know.
So funny to me.
So now it's to the point to where, you know, she send me to the store. She'll send me pictures of what it is I'm looking for because I'm a visual guy. You know,
Yeah.
let me find the Prego. All right, here. All right, I got 20 ounce. Okay, I got milk, vitamin D, 1%, 5%. Okay, I got it. You know, so but I have been working on that though because, you know, I have to eat, and I know we normally do online grocery shopping normally, and it just comes to the house, but every now and then
Yeah.
I have to go pick stuff up. So I kind of welcome the challenge, and if I feel myself getting frustrated, I say ain't nobody fault but yours. Just read the label and find out what you need to get. You know, ain't no need getting frustrated about it. You know, so but that's what I'm saying. That's has evolved over time because she
Yeah.
knows I don't really like grocery shopping. And so, but anyway, so that's some of the things you know, you that's kind of funny. But you know, we just kind of do to help each other out. You know, she's just send me
Yeah.
pictures.
But something else that I think that makes your marriage very strong in all our conversations is partnership. You're both in it together. You both
Hmm.
respect each other as individuals, as each person, but also together as a unit. So I love that because a lot of people forget that, when you're married, it is a unit. You
Yeah.
can still respect each other individually, but when you come together, it's like you're even more magical. So I just needed to say that it's very evident that partnership is very strong, and I think that's why it works so well.
It
Uh,
does. So what I want to add to that is that married couples should strive to complement each other, not
yes.
compete against each other. In areas where I am weak, she is strong. I don't even want to say we're weak or she does it better than I do. And then there's some things that I do. Like I like to build. Everything you see in this office, I built it. Well, she designed it. She
Oh,
don't
very
use the
nice.
tools. She can help, but then her gift is this, and then I make it come alive through building stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like we complement each other. We're not butting heads trying to compete. And we certainly don't do that in front of people because it doesn't look good. You know, when you're in company, you're a crowd of people, you should
Hmm.
complement each other, not compete against each other. Like for example, when I go to functions with my wife, I kind of sit back kind of guy. I like to record when she speaks and she does all the talking and she introduced me. I don't try to take the flow and clown and all that. Sometimes I do. I laugh. But like when she comes to my events, she's there. We kind of support each other.
Yeah.
We don't give the appearance that we kind of compete against each other,
Yeah.
you know, and we don't do that in private either, you know, but it's something that we practice is just complimenting instead of trying to compete with each other and value each other's gifts, know where she's strong and where I'm weak and those kind of things. I think that's extremely important because in a world full of competition and everybody wants to be right and all of this kind of stuff, let's just compliment each other. And that's a key in my opinion to having a healthy marriage is to find ways to complement, not compete against each other. Unless we playing games and I'm gonna beat the brakes off of them. But if we just yeah,
We've
she got
already
it coming.
established she loses all the time.
Yeah, so
And I want to add two things to that. So two things. So and again, I'm the oldest person at work these days. I'm fastly becoming the old lady at the office. And we've got all these brand new, young whippersnappers coming out of college that are teaching, who sometimes ask questions about marriage. And one of the things I say often is marry someone you like, right?
Hmm.
There are plenty of people you're attracted to. There are plenty of people that, you think are snazzy in that outfit, whatever. But fundamentally, I believe it started for me because I married someone I genuinely liked. And at one point, as Derrick was sharing, when we had decided to go our separate ways, and we didn't think it was going to work, kind of how it started back is we just continued talking because we talked every single day for 3 years. There were very few. Now he would make me mad sometimes, and I wouldn't talk to him for a couple
Of
days.
course.
But for the most part, we talked every single day. And so I'll never forget my cousin Tiffany, who's like a sister to me, said, like we were doing, I don't even know what we were doing. And she said, "You're so stupid." And I said, what does that mean? She said, "If you don't marry him, you do realize his wife is not going to let you talk to him every day. Right? If y'all don't work this out, you do know you can't keep just being his friend and talking every single day." And I was like, well, why wouldn't I be able to? He's my best friend. I want to talk to him every day, even if he's not my husband. And she's like,
Yeah.
that's dumb. Right. And so I really had to think very hard about that. I was like, okay, so what does that mean? I want to talk to this person every single day. He is my favorite person who I want to talk to when good things happen. He calms me when bad things happen. I want to get his insight and wisdom and his perspective because it was always so different than mine. I liked hanging out in his room because he just always had such a calm space. So
I almost had to serve her an eviction notice.
there you go.
No, I'm just kidding.
Foolishness. Foolishness.
Eviction notice.
Foolishness. Foolishness. So like if we can't work through these little hiccups in our relationship, like what is going to happen to my heart and my mind if I can't talk to this person every day? Because this is the person. Because like you said, even when I was dating someone else, who I was very fond of at the time, I still wanted to talk to Derrick every day. And so, and he didn't like that so much, but but the reality is I told him he had to get over it because Derrick is my friend and I'm going to talk to him every single day. And sometimes you're going to call me and I'm going to be in his room and we'll be together every day because he was my best friend. And it just that's true. Like that's accurate.
I didn't say nothing.
I don't know if that's what happened with your friend.
I just didn't say nothing.
But that was part of it. So marry someone you like talking to, you like hanging around, because a lot of things are going to happen. Derrick and I have been really overweight together. When I had our first child, DJ, it went from 97 pounds to 130 pounds. Derrick also looked like he was 9 months pregnant. We have a picture because we laughed about it. No, we laughed about it because he like got this belly out of nowhere. We were like, why do you have a belly? Right. So you're going to get big, then you're going to get small again. You see, he's all in shape from, police running and chasing people. Like all of that stuff is going to come and go. You'll have hair, you'll lose hair. It'll be black, it'll be gray. Things are going to change, right? But what should remain is the fact that you are looking at someone every day and every night that you really like as a person. That's the most critical thing for me.
Initially, when people begin to date, for men, it's something that you saw. For women, maybe it's something that you heard, because women like what they hear, men like what they see. However, as you continue to mature in your relationship, it has to be deeper than that. Because all of this is gonna fade. It's gonna start to fall down. You're gonna get shorter. Your bones gonna get thin. This body's gonna wear down. This can't be it, because this is gonna go away.
Yeah.
It has to be what's in the heart and what's in the mind. You have to learn how to, like when I said when I first started talking, I was saying we got to know each other, learn what our perspectives was on life, kind of what we wanted in life. You need to pick the mind, because this is gonna be gone. This is gonna be over with. So you got to have somebody that has a ground, a foundation, a belief system, some logic, and the way that they go about doing things that you feel like you can make it with in life. Because I had her when we started talking. She don't wear it all out. Now it's gone. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying things change over time. But yet you can still grow though. What's on the inside can continue to mature and flourish and grow as you grow together. And that's what's more important than the physical aspects of it.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was going to say, and I just shared this with a couple, Derrick's brother and his partner, his girlfriend. We were talking about this the other day. This idea that I also believe that, and I feel this way now in my 40s. And again, in my 20s, I had much more energy. So maybe it's late 40s, but I'm going to be 48 this year. Is I also want to be Derrick's safe place to land. And I want him to be my safe place to land, right? So when you're in this rat race and you're running and you have bosses you're trying to please and clients and customers and 401k and their news, there's a war and gas prices are up and food prices are up and you can't find, there are so many things that give you stress and can give you anxiety and can give you fear and can really get you beside yourself. But I really want our home and our relationship to be a soft place, right? And
Mhm.
so what am I doing intentionally to make it that soft space? And I was challenged even today. A friend of mine said, her boyfriend said, "Hey, I just need 5 minutes. I haven't seen you. You've been running. I'm running. I just need 5 minutes." But what he did was he prepared like a charcuterie for them, had like wine. And so in that 5 minutes, he had made a plan for them to be together and just be in each other's presence. And so really carving out that time and not just saying, "Hey, we need to spend some time together," and making it the responsibility of the other person, but saying what you need and really making that soft place so that you can have that time and that space for each other.
Speaking of a safe place, home being a safe place, that doesn't come without a shield, without some
Mhm.
kind of fortified boundaries.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful of the atmosphere we set at home. Is it a loving atmosphere? Is it welcoming? Is it a place where you want to come? Because there's so many married couples stopping 2 miles down the road saying, "Oh, I don't want to go home. I got to deal with this and deal with
Yeah.
that." It just like
It's true.
drains their energy.
True.
They
Mhm.
dread going home. Well, we didn't want it to be that way. We want to be like, man, I'm glad to get home. Especially after 25 years, some couples throwing in the towel because they're tired of
Mhm.
whatever's been going on. So you have to actively fortify your home, meaning what kind of atmosphere you're setting here. Do the kids feel love? Do they feel welcome when people come by? Does it place smell good? Does it look good? Is it clean? Is it cluttered? Is it we hoarders? What kind of what's going on? You want to set it to where it's an atmosphere where, man, I'm so glad to be home.
Yeah.
And that takes active work. That includes
Mhm.
watching what kind of TV programming is on, what type of what you're watching on the internet, how long it's boundaries and it's setting parameters around it so that it could be a safe neighborly even with the neighbors, it could be more of a welcoming spirit if you will, here. And so
Mhm.
that takes work to do active work
Yeah.
because again, you got the internet, you got the news, you got the war going on. And I was telling my family yesterday, that men fall, meaning men and women, because of broken focus. If you break your if you break your focus and you allow all of this other stuff to get you wired up and amped up, that can spew off on your spouse and your children. I'm not saying we got to be dumb to what's going on with the war and all of that, but I am saying I don't have to react in such a manner to all of this stuff to where it impacts us. We start an argument over what
Mhm.
the president doing. I care less what he's doing. I need to focus on taking care of my home because that's going to be what it's going to be. But we can't
Mhm.
allow that to get to impact our logic to where it causes our home to be stressed out.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah.
And then how do you balance love, work, and family? Let's bring in the kids now.
Yeah.
How do we balance? You said love.
Love, work, and family.
Well,
Work and family, yeah.
love is you have to love yourself before you can really truly learn how to love somebody else.
Mhm.
So but in order to love yourself, you got to go back to the one that showed us love first, and that's Christ for us. So you got to find out what love is and what patience and kindness and all of those things that come with it. You have to know that way you can properly demonstrate it with your spouse. Okay.
Mhm.
And then you mentioned work. We understand we have to work. We're going to work probably more than half of our lives because that's the ministry field that God has given us to support, to pay bills and to support and to grow and to invest in the kingdom is by giving us a job. And so we support each other's work. She imported my career in law enforcement and hers as an educator. Even when she was getting her master's degree, doctor's degree, and things like that, and now her superintendent certification, we just learn ways to support each other. She buys me a lot of books. I think I read half of one, half of another, then I go back to this one because I can't seem to stay in one book the whole time. I had to dance around, but she can read all day long because she's an author too, right? But she supports the line of work I'm in and make sure I have what I need to be successful at work. And then when it comes to family, and then I'm gonna turn the mic over. It's my job to spend time and to train our children to teach them how to respect, to live by example. Like I told you in the first
Mm-hmm.
episode, it's my job to spend time with them when she's busy, pick them up from school. It's these kids, our kids are just as much as my responsibility as hers, and I don't dump it all on her. That's
Mm-hmm.
not we share the responsibility. She's got a long night or something. Hey, I'll take care of it. I got it. That's what I'm talking about earlier when I mentioned the capacity, right? 70%.
Yeah.
Maybe one day she's supposed to pick our daughter up from school. Well, maybe something happens at work and they got a meeting. Well, if I know I'm coming home and hey, let me go this way. Let me go get Linda. Let me pick up. Let me bring her home. So we make sure we leave that allowance in there to support and help each other. And as you know, I love spending time with our kid children and doing stuff with family. So we've made it work with that particular method of not being selfish, but being selfless and
Mm-hmm.
serving each other, finding out ways to serve each other more and more as our kids grow, as jobs change, the illness comes and goes. Just keep that servanthood attitude, and that helps us.
It does. And I would think,
Just one quick thing. You
go
should
ahead.
have that as the tagline on the shirt.
Which one?
Less selfish. What was it? Less
Not
selfish, more
self, yeah.
you should
Selfless.
make a shirt with
Self
that.
selfless and not selfish.
Yes.
Selfless.
Yeah.
That
Gotcha.
would be
Okay.
a beautiful shirt.
All right, I will. Well,
That
duly
that's an
noted.
because that's a really good message to have.
Yeah, because that's what
Sorry, I had to
causes.
put that in there.
No, that's good.
Yeah, that's fine. If you think about it, that's what causes a lot of problems in a person's life or in a relationship is being selfish.
Yes, I agree.
Christ came and showed that he was selfless, not
Yeah.
selfish. So
Yep.
when we model
From
that
from
behavior,
beginning to end. From beginning to
absolutely.
end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not always got to be what you want, but what you can do for other people. How can you serve someone else? Which is another reason why I'm in law enforcement. How can you serve someone else? It's about how can
Mm-hmm.
I serve my wife after 25 years? What changes do I need to make to be able to serve her the way she needs to be served? And
Mm-hmm.
so that's very important.
Yeah. And the only thing I would say the whole time you guys were talking, like for me, it's the art of truly listening and hearing your partner, right? So I remember when Derrick first wanted to do the Active Dads Rule brand, and like we were tinkering around with a logo. And again, because he knows I can be a creative, and
Hmm.
do certain things. So I think this final logo, I think I
You
designed this,
did.
right? But it was because I was listening to what he wanted, right? And so I think some of it is listening to your partner and just hearing them allows you to be able to better understand how you can support them, because sometimes, and you know this, sometimes your partner is dealing with things and they don't know how to tell you to support them. Like it's akin
Mm-hmm.
to, it drives me crazy when someone loses a family member and then people call them and say, well, tell me what I can do to help. Well, that person is grieving. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm trying to figure out how to bury my mom. And you want me to give you
Yeah.
a list of what you can do? That drives me crazy. When if you listen and you just pay attention and maybe just take a minute, what are some things that I can do for you just from listening and hearing and understanding where you are, right? And so back to that selfless, right? And so for me, when Derrick talks about, even when he was talking about wanting to follow this dream of going into law enforcement, right? For me, I always think about what things can I be doing in the background? What things can I do in the peripheral to support him? And he knows this very well. So I'm researching stuff and I'm ordering what supplies does he need to clean his bulletproof vest and like
Right.
just things that I know because I know him, he might not think of. Right. And then one of the things that I did, because I know that this is something Derrick really wanted to do, but I also knew it was going to be very hard because he was the oldest ever cadet to finish the academy, right? So
Wow.
they raised the age because, of course, everybody's having a hard time finding people to hire. And so the police force made the age go up to whatever. Like for a long time, it was in your 20s or something.
It was 44.
And so they raised it up. And so he is still has made history. I tell people, and that is Black history, a moment in Black history. He is the oldest ever cadet to complete, right? So I knew, because I have lots of friends on the force, many of which I taught in second grade, which is crazy. But so hearing them talk about it, I thought, okay, this is going to be hard. And a lot of people quit and give up. So what can I do to really make it hard for Derrick when he gets really, really hard moments running in freezing temperatures or burning hot temperatures doing the stadium. What things can I say to him? What things can I do that really will promote him to finish this goal? And so, one of the things I talk to our kids about is like, we're going to throw dad a surprise party, which we had never successfully done, Melanie. I'm going to tell you in all the years. But I contacted all of our friends and family,
Mm-hmm.
some of which were in law enforcement that were friends of friends, but mostly just people who I knew would hold him accountable and check in on him, right? And so we planned this elaborate party. He had nothing, he knew nothing about it, and we actually did it the Saturday before he was scheduled to start the
Mm-hmm.
academy. And so what I had people do is I told him we were going bowling to hang out that night.
Yep.
But a friend of mine manages this bowling alley and has this party room in the back. So while we were on our way, I had the kids have it, everybody fill out little notes and love yous for a scrapbook that I was going to later put together for him. Because again, I wanted him to have something visual to keep him going, right? And so they're doing all of these, why you should do it. And I encourage them if they wanted to bring gifts, like make it something that is focused on this task, right? So one of his ladies at work made a knitted a doll of him in a police uniform. Like
Mm-hmm.
it almost looks like a voodoo doll, but
Oh my
Yeah. He
goodness.
needed it together.
she knitted a little man in a police uniform, right? So when we got there and I said, "Oh, Derrick, we're gonna go bowling, but before we pay, let's go into the back and check out this back room." Steven just updated it, which he really had, and they're trying to get more business. Let's check it out. So they had all the lights off. I opened the door
People
and
everywhere.
I walk in and they hit the lights. And he just cries, cries, cries. Derrick,
Yeah.
he
Oh,
cried.
that's so
He is
cute.
weeping. And I mean, because we just got him. But then, like, for the rest of the night, I said, y'all, this is just going to be us pouring into him. So we were passing the mic around, and people were telling him, like, his Aunt Benita, who has been around for forever, was like, I remember when you were a little boy and you were trying to help people, right? So I wanted him to have so many reasons to keep going, echoing in the back of his mind, no matter what came along, right? And so that's what we do for our partners, right? Is we try to hear what their heart is telling us and look at our natural gifts and talents and figure out how can I use my things that I'm good at to really help you achieve your goals. And Derrick does the same thing for me. And that's what it's like in practice for us. But for me, it really does start with listening to their heart and hearing what they want and what they
Yeah.
need. Because they sometimes may not say exactly what it is, but you have enough wisdom and enough talent to know what you bring to the table and can help with. I believe that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. How long have you been in the force now?
2 years and
Almost
4 months.
yeah, sir.
Almost 2.5 years.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. I'm so glad your wife is amazing. She just naturally brought that in because that's something too that we wanted to highlight is, your journey into the police force.
Mm-hmm.
It I have heard from the grapevine because we do have a mutual friend that, the police force has always been a dream of yours. So
Yep.
uh, you both together made it come true.
Mm-hmm.
You did it yourself, and then with the uplifting support of your wonderful partner, you achieved it. That's amazing.
Yes, it's a blessing, and I couldn't have did it without him because that support is really is it gives men strength that nothing else can.
Yeah,
The support from your spouse and your family. Whenever you think about, you're getting tired or you wondering if it's worth it, you think about those people that are supporting you, and that is extremely important. That encouragement and that you can do it. And then matter of fact, remember about 3 weeks ago, I was looking in the album she created, and I saw all of the cards that people wrote and the date that was on them. And, you can do this. You got this. We're praying for you. You got our support, and I was just sitting at the table and just kept looking in it, looking through it. And it was just such a blessing to go back and read again, and here I am right here.
oh, look at that. Is
Mhm.
that your cruiser there?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's one more, and I'll show you one more picture there. There I am in
Very
my
nice. Look at
uniform.
that.
Yeah. And so it's just a blessing to be able to serve people and to have the support at home that I got in such a what could be considered a dangerous career. But it's not always that way. Something we help people more than what it's portrayed on the news, you know.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
think I talk a little bit about your book,
Oh, okay.
leftovers and hand-me-downs, because we didn't do a whole lot. But what inspired the message behind your book?
Yeah, so it really was part of writing the book for me was an opportunity for me to process the story, right? And so it's almost a love letter to my great grandmother in that this idea of leftovers and hand-me-downs was really what I grew up on. Like I grew up taking hand-me-down clothes from all my older cousins, aunts and uncles, um, learning how to sew and alter things to where they fit me. And like I shared yesterday, we ate so many leftovers that somehow, would miraculously feed our huge family because my great grandmother had 8 children, and then several of her children had 8 children. I mean, like, so there was an infinite number of us in and out of the home. And as a young child, once you realize, kind of what Derrick alluded to yesterday, that you are poor or you don't have the same family structure, the same things as everyone else, you can very easily see that as a deficit. That becomes a deficit mindset. But through the years, I've really learned to see it as a benefit and to see it as a gift. And so I really wanted to just share that story. So it's written almost as a poem. It's very short. And each of those words represents one chapter. And so the first chapter is left, for leftovers. And I talk about my earliest memory when of my mother leaving me. And I remember very vividly one of the many times when she left me. That's probably my earliest memory. And so I really wanted to take something that really is so heavy, right? And turn it around, right? So by the time you get to down, leftovers and hand me down, that last chapter, what I really talk about is how even people who feel like they're down on their luck, down to their last dollar, down in the dumps, all the down words and down phrases that we know is a great place to start. And I end the book by saying something along the lines of, when you're starting down, there's no place to go but up, right? And so this idea of even if you start in what society would consider a deficit, there is still so much room for you to soar and go. And as educators, we see that. And this is one of the funniest things, I think, one of the funnest statistics in education is students that are actually achieving lower academically tend to have more growth than our highest students by year end, right? And so, why is that, right? Well, because they have so much room to catch up, right? And so this idea of starting at the bottom is not always a bad thing. It's what we choose to think about, where we choose to focus, and how we choose to channel that into the direction that we want to go. And so that's really, really what it is. Is it's a poetic love story. I'm extremely dyslexic, so are all of our kids. And so, but it's written in my true, real voice. And so if people really want to know what I sound like that's it, because that's my real voice.
I love that.
Yeah. And after writing a
Get the
long
book.
dissertation, huh?
And where can you get the book? Just in case
Oh,
I'm trying to do
Amazon.
promo here.
It's,
Amazon.
it's available on Amazon. You can search leftovers and hand-me-downs or just my name, and it's there. And I was very careful about how much detail to include because and I say this somewhere in the book or in the description or something. I wanted all of our children to be able to read it, and all of our children have read it, which has meant so much to me because it's allowed them to, they know my story, but to hear it written that way was a different experience for them. And so it's appropriate for middle school on up. I've got a school district here in Texas that's looking at making it reading for one of their advanced English classes, which is super cool. Because like I said, it's somewhere between poem and prose. Like it's a genre kind of to its own. But it was just an opportunity for me to really explore some feelings. I wrote most of it while weeping, and Derrick knows this. Like I would just cry because it was an opportunity for me to really flush out what was humming under the surface all this time, and that's this knowledge of, this may have been intended for your bad, but God has worked it all for your good, right? And being able to say that story out loud and put it to paper was important for me.
Yeah. It was like a great way. It's like almost like therapy.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. I have one more question and then anything else you would like to share. But what legacy do you hope your kids see you building?
Yeah.
I want our kids to see us building a life of service and gratitude,
Yeah.
honor. Those are things that have to be taught. They don't come natural. So I want our kids to see that we actually lived what we said, and that we leave that imprint on their life for years to come, and to teach our grandchildren and great grandchildren that we may never see. But there'll be which is hence why I don't make as many as I used to, because Linda's getting old. But I used to make a lot of videos on my YouTube channel, and I want them to be able to go back and look and see what was Dad like when we were little. What was Dad like when we were teenagers, and now we're 20s and 30s. And I want them to have a whole history line of evidence to show that we served, that we taught them how to honor each other, and that we had gratitude for life and the things that God created. So it's not about money, because if you have those things, money will come if you have honor. And we teach our kids how to honor us. That's commandment number 5 is honor thy mother and thy father. That's the first commandment dealing with money. It's money. So you'll have it if you learn how to do that in life. And so we want to exemplify that in what we do and how we treat each other, more importantly, and how we treat others. And we want our kids to see it and continue that legacy.
Yeah. And I think for me, my great grandmother used to say all the time, bloom where you're planted, right? So one of the things that are important to me is we don't know where our children are going to end up landing, right? We've, like we said yesterday, they were raised in the same home. We taught them the same values. They are vastly different people, right? And so I know that the journey of their lives are going to take them to very different places and different spaces. And the message that we also are trying to send forth to them is wherever you find yourself, bloom there, right? So whether it's a traditional family that's decided to live off the grid and start homeschooling and gardening, bloom there. If you want a more traditional life, you want to go on Wall Street, you want to go to Harvard Law, bloom there. You want to be in the military, you want to serve in armed forces, to serve this country, a little closer to home or overseas, bloom there. And that's really fundamentally what we're modeling for them too, is that wherever we go and whatever we do, we are determined to bloom right where we are. And we're not going to let anything around us keep us from blooming, right? It's like the weeds that keep coming up in those cracks in the driveway. You can weed treat them, you can cut them down, but something about them, they're going to keep growing. They're going to keep growing through the cracks. And that's the type of resilience and dedication we really are also pushing our children to have, is this idea that it doesn't matter, because things are going to come, challenges are going to happen, there are going to be some hardships, and this is one of the things that will make me cry. The thought of, I know and we know there are things we will not be able to protect our children from. There are going to be some life choices, some life situations that we could never prepare them for, no matter how hard we've prayed, no matter how hard we've taught, no matter how many meals I've cooked, how many breaks Derrick was changing our daughter's breaks day. There are some things we won't be able to protect them from, but teaching them the art of blooming right where they're planted by God's grace, to me, is also part of that legacy.
Yeah, that's right. And I just want to piggyback on that. It's like we're supplying them with the tools,
Yeah.
with the tools for living. It's a foundation. If you got a Phillips screwdriver, a monkey wrench, and a flathead screwdriver, you can just about fix anything in a house because they have multiple uses. They don't have to just be used for one thing. And so we teach our children to keep this in your tool bag. If you do this right here, if you honor and respect people, you keep this in your tool bag. Not only would it help you as a child, but it'll help you when you work. It'll help you when you become part of a team here. It'll help you when you do this. See, it'll show up in different areas. So we provide them with a foundation that is applicable in just about every situation that you can go into. Tell the truth. Don't lie. Don't swindle people. Don't do that as a child. Well, you go to your job. You don't swindle people. You don't lie to people. You're honest. See, so it works. So providing them with those tools in their tool bag, and as they mature, we add tools to the tool bag. So when the problem does come, or when the situation does come, go look in your tool bag. Add a verse, adversity, add a verse. What is out there that can help inspire you and encourage you in this situation? So that's what we do for each other and for our children. We pack our toolbox with tools.
Yeah. And then one more, and as we talk, Melanie, it comes to mind, but I think, and one of the things we say all the time, we teach is the idea that ministry begins at home, right? And I think we model that very well. So we say this to our kids all the time, like when they're getting snappy with us, because they get snappy. Our favorite thing to say is, now hold on. You can't treat us bad here, but then be on your friends laughing on the phone with them, having a good time and being sweet to everybody else. So one of the things that we really do also promote, and we've done it with everyone, that's a common message, is ministry, talking sweet, being sweet, showing love, being kind, having grace. That has to start here. That starts at home. And we've gone so far as to take phones, and you don't get to leave out of the house until you learn how to treat the people here the way you need to treat them. Because if you say you love me, who you see every day, but mistreat me, I can't trust you that you're going to go out in the community and be very loving and responsible. If you're not being loving and responsible right here while I'm looking at you, right? And so that's something that we also, I think, make part of our legacy too, because I've heard our kids talk about that.
Melanie, can you imagine how atrocious it would be if I'm telling you about active dash rule and to everybody else's child, I'm encouraging, I'm this, that, and the third, and I'm encouraging them, talking to them, but I don't do that to my own children.
Yeah, it's a travesty. It will be a travesty.
Or if I go to work and I'm complimentary of my coworkers and my staff and my boss and other ladies in leadership, but I can't hug my wife and say hello, that's a tragedy. A travesty. I think that's the word. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it starts here, then it goes there. Because you don't want to treat other people better than you treat your spouse or other people's children other than you treat your own. That's why charity starts at home.
Yeah.
Then it goes everywhere else. I'd be a complete fake. This whole video would be damning if I were to be that way, right? And so it starts here with our marriage. It starts here with our children. It starts here, and then it shows up at work.
Yeah.
Because when home is in good shape or healthy,
That's right.
you can work better.
Yeah.
You ain't stressed out at work.
Yeah.
You can go in the community and smile. The Bible says a woman, a Proverbs 31 woman, her husband, when she works out and goes out in the community, her husband is proud of her. He speaks well of her. Things like that, But it all starts here.
Yeah.
Starts here in our home. We sell it here, and then we can go out and do whatever we need.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys would like to add that maybe we haven't missed before our round 2 of rapid questions that Derrick is looking forward
to? I just want to say to the husbands and the dads out there on this second episode is start where you are. I had a vision a long time ago of wanting to have this. We talked about that in the first episode. It takes time and it takes work. If you are not at the time where you want to be, just work on it now. Start working on it right now because you can help dictate what happens tomorrow by what you do today. You might not be with your kids, you might be at odds with them. You might not get along with them. They may be older, whatever the case is, and you've missed out on some years for whatever reason. But you know what? You can start now.
Mhm.
Your marriage may be in shambles right now. You don't know whether you want to stay or go. You don't want to know what you want to do. Well, okay, start now. You can start now diagnosing the issues, getting down to the root so that tomorrow and next week and next month can be a progressive stage where you can get it to where you want. Because you look at us, this took work.
Mhm.
And it still takes work. Work's not over, right? We don't want to see sharpening our sword by thinking we got it made because we do not. We stay hungry and we thirst after righteousness is what the word says. So the same is true in our marriage. We serve each other. We don't get complacent. So in fatherhood is the same. Don't get complacent. Learn ways to connect with your children a lot better. So that would be my message to all of those that are watching this. Start where you are now, making any kind of adjustments. Not everything is wrong. Just make some little small adjustments like a sailboat. It ain't got to be no quick left or quick right. Just take a slight turn and things will improve for you.
Yeah. That's good.
So
Yeah. And just thank you, Melanie. That would be the only thing I would say is thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to share. Because like I said before, our families know us. They get to hear us from time to time, but they get on us a lot for not inviting them to stuff. But so thank you for giving us the opportunity to share this story and share a little bit about ourselves. And again, we're not perfect, but we're pushing.
yeah.
And so I just thank you for giving us the opportunity to share that message.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm so honored that you've allowed me to share your story because I think it's a very important one. And we have two beautiful episodes that I know people are going to love. And again, we're gonna have to collaborate again. That's for sure.
Let's do it.
And let everybody know, ask the Culpeppers. It's on YouTube. I think like 5 years ago we did our last episode, but we are returning to Ask the Culpeppers. So you can check it out yourself when you get a chance. But yeah, we'll be bringing Ask the Culpeppers back, and it'll be sponsored by the Baby Spot Global Digital Parenting Magazine. So
Oh, very nice.
mhm.
They're my favorite too.
All right. Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
we're ready for rapid questions.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right. These are fun. There's no right or wrong answer. Number one, game night or movie night? Which wins in your house?
Movie. They like to watch movies.
But
We
he
have a
prefers
movie
game
room.
night, but movie night normally wins.
Yeah.
Movie night. This will branch off. What kind of movies? Action,
I,
animation.
I like action movies because I tend to go to sleep on Gone with the Wind and
You stayed awake for Gone with the
stuff
Wind.
like that. I
That's
mean,
an
I
honest
need some
answer. That's an honest answer.
I need some helicopters and some FBI, some government conspiracy. You know, I
Bombs going off. It's true.
right because
It's true.
we like sound in this house. We got speakers and we like sound. So I want to hear the Transformers and I want to hear all of that. So
Yes, for DJ, it's going to be anything period piece, historical fiction. He prefers movies that are based on real events. Like he is our history buff. Christine is kind of sci-fi slash Marvel, anything Marvel DC universe. And then Linda is our scary movie horror lover,
yeah.
which I don't even know where that came from. But she makes me watch things that are scary all the time and then fusses at me for screaming and scaring her more than the movie. Um, I prefer anything lighthearted and very sweet and very calm because I feel like life is wild enough. So I prefer a nice romantic comedy where everybody leaves smiling. So we have such different tastes.
Yeah.
So it's always fun to watch a movie together because undoubtedly a good percentage of the watchers are going to be dissatisfied.
Yeah.
Still,
That's wonderful.
we still watch.
Number two, road trip or staycation? what is your vibe?
I'm gonna see what you say to this one because I already know.
Staycation.
Road trip.
Road trip.
My favorite, and I did this, and Derrick knows this, especially when the kids were little. I love to drive to see our family in North Carolina because it's 16 hours where they're trapped in the car with you and they cannot get out. And we would stop along the way, and I loved it because that was the longest time we would get with the kids, and especially when they started driving and they couldn't have devices. Like that's my favorite. I love to lock everybody in the car because yeah, they may sleep for the first 2 or 3 hours, but then they're up, and then you can make them turn off devices and talk. So I love a very good, my back doesn't love it so much, but I love a good road trip.
Road trip.
Staycation. Cause I can work in the garage.
Wants
I
to
can
be
fix something.
working on something in the garage.
See, matter of fact, get my safety glasses. See.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
Number 3. So this is a food one. I apologize in advance if anything comes out of this. Sweet snacks or salty snacks? Which one disappears first?
Sweet.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet for them. Derrick has a serious sweet tooth that the children have all inherited, except for maybe DJ. DJ
Wow.
not savory, but the girls. Let me tell you, one of Linda's first complete sentences was QT hot dog, because I did not know this when she was a baby. He was taking her to the Quick Trip gas station and getting her gas station hot dogs. And so anytime I would drive by a QT, the sign is so big, she would scream QT hot dog. I didn't know what she was saying, Melanie, but I quickly found out he was getting junk food and snacks from the gas station so much that the baby learned to read QT before she could read her own name.
Number 4. Early birds or night owls?
Early birds. That's one thing we definitely have in common.
Early birds.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What would early be? Is that like 6 a.m.?
It's
Nah,
not,
you
it's
late if you up
before-
at 6.
Oh, really? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
you late. We done done 2 or 3 things.
We probably walked.
Oh, wow.
I was changing brakes at 5:20 this morning.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Starting dinner, working on lunch. The kids are like, and especially now that Derrick has come back from college, we do protein shakes in the morning. So the mixer is so loud. And he's like, what are y'all mixing? It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Like,
You know, there's old saying that said the early bird get the worm, but the early bird get the bird around here.
that's right.
So
You're up before the birds.
We are. We definitely are. So, but we it's a great time of day because it's quiet. We used to sit on the back of the porch when we would get up really early. So, yeah,
and when you wake up in the morning, you get to choose your attitude.
that's right.
It's not dictated by Facebook and what's happening in the news.
And
You
we're-
get to choose your own attitude when you wake up. Spend time preparing for the day before you interact with other people or get on social media or anything. Spend time being thankful and getting prepared for the day.
Yeah, and decided.
Yeah.
And number 5, matching family outfits or everyone doing their own thing?
Matching
family
outfits.
outfits. And Derrick and I actually started matching and complimenting each other in college. Like this started when we
Oh, wow.
So we've been matching for a long time, and we do the matching Christmas PJs, and I love complimentary color schemes. Like I give them a color palette. So we do like that. And Derrick would like if we matched exactly alike every day. I'm not quite ready for exactly alike, but I think I'm working into that. But I prefer to give everybody an opportunity to have some originality by following a color pattern.
Oh, that's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you again so much for
You're
your
welcome.
time. I really, really appreciate it. So this is all for Momma Braga Unfiltered. I am Melanie. That is Derrick. That's Lakisha. Until next time.
Peace.
Thanks for listening. Until next time, this is Momma Braga wishing you courage to tell your story and joy in every chapter.